I know, right?
Good morning, Signature Real Estate Group. We have another fantastic sales meeting planned for you, and today we have our agent panel. I'm surrounded by top producing agents that are here to share with us their knowledge. But before we move on to our mortgage moment, we have some exciting announcements to make. We have our Spirit of Signature Award winner for January 2021, and that's Kiawa Mason from the Summerlin office. Congratulations. And they told me to say that he gives the best hugs.
He does. Yeah. Yes.
I do not know from personal experience, but I'm hoping to find out soon. So congratulations. Also wanted to remind everybody that we have an awesome referral program, that if you have any referrals, either commercial in Las Vegas or out-of-market areas like Pahrump or Mesquite that you don't want to drive out to, we have agents that you can place them with. And we also have a referral program that can go international. We just placed one in Barcelona, Spain. And no, I'm not driving to open houses in Barcelona, but the point is, if you do use our referral program, the cool piece back to you guys as agents is you don't have to pay any split on those dollars that come back in because we already take care of it through the program.
Wow.
Have you guys used it yet?
Yes.
Yeah? You like it?
I do.
Well, I like you for using it, so there you go. So let's go to Shelly. Shelly, talk about what's going on in our mortgage moment. Shelly P.
Tuesday, everyone. So today I wanted to share a little bit about the DACA loan or DACA borrowers and the ability for us to do DACA borrowers for our FHA and conventional loans. So a little bit of techie stuff. I thought Todd was going to be here, but since he's not, DACA is what it is, the abbreviations for DACA, which means Deferred Action Childhood Arrivals. Ultimately, it's our dreamers, basically who are children who would come in from undocumented parents. They came in when they were 16 years or younger, and came in and have now established income, employment, have a work permit, social security number. They used to, for a period of time the last administration, they were unable to get financing as FHA, and so they have actually made a big announcement that FHA is now eligible for DACA borrowers, as well as conventional loans. And then we just got confirmation that they will be eligible for our down payment assistance program under the Home is Possible, or otherwise known as HIP. HIP loans for the DACA. So if you have any questions, Myra Talley, who typically resides in the Henderson office, has actually closed a few for us. And so now we're really excited to be able to bring this back. But if you have any questions, make sure to reach out to one of your Prosperity loan officers for the DACA, HIP loans, or anything else that you can think of as far as lending is concerned. And that's all I got.
Wow, fantastic. Thank you so much. Great information as always.
Awesome.
DACA.
I'm going to DACA my way out here.
Shelly's going to exit the stage and stand in the corner over by the wall over there.
Bye, everyone.
Thanks again. So we have a great panel set up. We have Jeff, Daryl, and Jessica who are here with us to talk about their experience during this horrible pandemic we've gone through. And what I think is encouraging about all of you is that you all have maintained incredible businesses during this downturn. And it's not all related to a hot real estate market, and so we're going to talk about that. And I have a series of questions, as I always do for the meeting, and I've kind of somewhat prepared you guys, and I took the threw them away. And I'm just kidding. So let's just start off. Jeff, we'll start with you on a business comparison level. Tell us what 2019 looked like for your business compared to what happened in 2020.
Oh, I'm going first.
Yes.
Just kidding.
That's why your name is Jeff.
So I will say that I was looking at numbers, and the cool thing is that I actually could look at numbers and actually be able to track it.
Well, that's positive.
So before that was not able to. It's like, oh, I think so. But I will say that 2020, my number of units was actually down, but my GCI was up and my income was up. So it was actually, even though everything that was going on, it was also a moment of restructuring, but I'll kind of talk a little bit more about that later. But overall, profits were up, and yeah, I mean, it was different for sure, but yeah, it was up.
Fantastic. Well, it seems like working smarter, not harder, is always a good thing, and so making more money with less units sold is, I think that's a dream for any real estate agent. Daryl, talk about your 2019 compared to your 2020.
Well, I can tell you when the pandemic hit, I mean, I think we all freaked out.
Yep.
And I was just like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna lose my house, I'm gonna lose my business. And my goal for 2020 was just to remain open. And of course, 2019 compared to 2020 was very different. My phone rang non-stop in 2019 as opposed to 2020. I had to make my phone ring.
Wow.
I tried to fix systems. I basically had analyzed my numbers and also my spendage. And I was looking for different vendors to get the same results, but of course at a lower cost.
Sure.
Obviously, just like Jeff said, my units sold actually dropped. So did my GCI. But at the same, one thing I did gain in 2020 was a family. So, and actually my partner's here right over there. But I mean, with this knowing that I had a family to take care of, and I also had this responsibility on my shoulders, that's what really kept me moving forward. Instead of just hiding in a corner saying, okay, this is the end, I can't do anything, I just restructured. And also listening to the Tuesday morning meetings and the mortgage minutes and, you know, the insights from Shelley. So you guys really gave us a lot of insight on how to keep our business surviving during 2020.
Wow, I love that comment. You had to make your phone ring in 2020, and that's something every real estate agent should be focused on. And congratulations on the amazing family you have.
Thank you.
Jessica, tell us about your 2019 compared to 2020.
Well, so definitely analyzed the numbers, and I had an increase in units sold, pretty substantial. My gross volume almost tripled, which is amazing. I had a very big change in production, and a lot of things happened for me. One, I doubled down on my marketing. I thought, well, we're all at home, we're not doing the same social activities that I would normally do, so I increased that, which did pay off. And then I really just went back to basics. So I thought, you know, we just need to do simple things like send a note card, make a phone call. I did little video messages and things like that. And it was interesting because I saw more people moving up. And so my average sales price also doubled, which is crazy. So it was a very good year.
That's awesome. And I love the fact that you said you went back to basics, because it seems like in any horrific occurrence in our real estate market, even in a crash or anything that happens, returning back to the things that have always worked for the last 50, 60 years in real estate seem to help. This next question is a little bit about just the mind frame of starting off the year in 2020, all of the great plans that you had. And so did you have any major business items that you started in January that you had to stop, or any major items you had to continue? Jessica, we'll start with you, so Jeff can relax and wait for his answer.
Good question. So I definitely pivoted. In 2019, I tried a virtual assistant.
Okay.
That actually took time away from my business.
Sure.
I realized that was a mistake for me personally, mainly because I spent so much time working on systems and all these things I was doing, and I was burning up time, and time is valuable.
Yep.
And those are my conversations, that's when I prospect, and so it distracted me from my business. So I changed that, and I also took an office here at the Southwest office for about 2 months. And the pandemic happened, I pulled back and went home to my home office, and I stayed very focused. I think that first month in March, I felt like my phone did stop ringing a little bit for about a month, but then afterwards it picked right back up. But I did other things. I worked on my business during that downtime. So yeah, I saw like a bunch of variations, but in the end, I think I just kept on going and let people know we were very active. I also think I increased my social media presence a little bit and things like that too.
Love it. And I do remember you started in the office right next to mine. It was nice to see you every day. And I think many people had made that adjustment, to be safe and conscious and thinking about their health and coming into the office for a while for many people. How did you stay focused at home?
Well, I had a home office that I could shut the doors.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty motivated when it comes to staying focused. I keep a daily plan. I actually time block and do those activities. If it wasn't for doing that, I would be all over the place. I literally start my morning with affirmations. I have an agenda. I have 3 goals for the day, and then I plan it out. So I know what I'm going to do every single day. And then, and if I don't make everything on my list, that's okay. I keep a record. So I just go back and look what I missed, what I didn't do, what am I going to add, and I mark them off. And the best thing about marking those things off is that I can see the progress that I made.
Sure. That's awesome. Daryl, same question. Did you start anything in January that you didn't continue, or anything that you did start and continue all the way through?
Actually, yes. Not sure if you guys are aware of my history, but yet Heather Manji and I had a team together called the Heather Manji Group in January 2020. And then in February, we decided to disperse. And I was basically thinking, do I still want to be a team leader or do I just want to be a mentor? And then the team itself came to me saying, no, you have to remain our leader. So during the shutdown, I was formatting the Braswell group. It took us 6 months. I kept it very hush-hush. And also that same time frame, I was restructuring my business. I was analyzing things. Also, I was getting to know my child because I took the pandemic as an opportunity I have so much downtime. People really aren't buying and selling. They're scared to do so. Let me get to know my baby and build that, that relationship with him. So we have a phenomenal bond. But at the same time, Daddy had to return back to work.
Sure.
We still got the mortgage to pay, the car to pay. But basically, I tried during that downtime, I was trying different things. I'm a very social person, and taking away that social aspect of my personality is like just caving on me, basically. So I went to different things such as text messaging blasting, more email blasting, more postcards, doubling up on my actual online presence. I was doing things of that nature that I wasn't accustomed to doing because I got comfortable in my business. And like Jessica had mentioned, going back to basics, things that made you, successful in the beginning, just return right back to it. Excuse me. And then not COVID related, you guys. Just
Anytime you sneeze or cough,
you're like, ooh. But like I said, I just really had to step back. I really had to analyze everything, and I see what had to make sense, But basically, and also now having a child, I'm on a very, very strict time frame. Like Jessica had mentioned, she makes a list, so I make a list as well. I go through my phone, and I actually have time blocks. And if I don't get something accomplished, I don't beat myself over it anymore. I'm just like, I'll get it done tomorrow. Because at 5:30, the doors are closed, the phone shuts off. It's me and sun time, So it's so different from 2019 to 2020 because now I have so much more structure. But the structure that I have now, I'm so thankful for it.
Well, the interesting thing about that is, it's hard to start a team anyway. You did it during a pandemic and you're flourishing as a team. So good on you for that. It definitely is indicative of great systems and great thought behind it. Jeff, same question for you. What did you start in January that you didn't continue, or things that you did?
That actually had a coaching, different platform before Signatures coaching, and I had pretty much a year all kind of mapped out, had goals working along the way, and then March hit, and a lot of these procedures or goals or whatever that I had out there really would not play, like, open houses and tenant occupied and that sort of stuff.
It wasn't my fault, by the way, I'm just putting it out there.
So actually, it was, and I'm going to say it too, but getting back to basics. Spent a lot of time going in and looking at ad spend and this and that. When I did change coaches, which was in June, platforms, I basically had to redo everything because it was all geared towards the previous one that had copyrights and all that sort of stuff to switch over. And I'm going to say I spent a lot of time getting systems into place, had switched from one CRM to a different one. And it's funny, I'm one of those guys that back then, my leads were in an Excel spreadsheet. So, I'd go down, I got to call Bob today, Sally tomorrow, and this and that. So I imported them all into the CRM. And it was funny, here it is, and then I find an Excel spreadsheet, and it's my SOI that I'm not reaching out because they're on a spreadsheet that they're not in my CRM. So anyways, it was a lot of restructuring. The cool thing is systems are in place. I heard about text blast, email blast, voice blast. All those are all set up now and actually practicing. And I did, just an example, over Christmas time, reached out to everyone, sent out Christmas cards and did the voice and text blast and this and that. And it actually led to 1 listing and 4 buyers.
Wow.
Yeah,
it's fantastic.
And actually closing on 1 by the end of the month. So
congratulations.
Yeah.
So just to remind everyone in the audience that is joining us online, you can definitely put some comments in. We'll try to get to all of them as we go through questions for our great panel. I'm going to move to some questions about mindset. And we're going to start with you, Jeff, because you have a great mindset. And so, it was very easy during this pandemic for all of us to kind of lose hope and just to, stay home, lock the doors, and let our business just dwindle down. And you guys were able to keep your business motivated, and that takes a pretty strong mindset. So tell us what your secret was to staying positive about, going in, making it happen, and keeping your business flourishing.
Well, I'm going to say for me, the big thing, I'm a believer, so, I always have hope in Christ and that sort of stuff. But I will say that it was coaching. Because if I were to go sideways or thought about or whatever, then, the coach would be like, okay, well, certain things that don't get done throughout the day or whatever, that's okay as long as I know what was or wasn't, what isn't working. Point is if I were to go sideways, and my coach would say, hey, you know what? Come back in, Jeff. So for me, it was coaching. It was also having my team, knowing that I'm responsible not just for myself, but also my team leader, because I'm leading these guys, you know what I mean? Lead by example and
Sure.
that sort of stuff. And then also support team from home and this and that.
I love it. So accountability makes a big difference in your daily life to keep you out there.
It does. It does. It for me, that's what works.
Awesome. Daryl, same question. How do you stay so positive all the time?
It's hard. It's so easy to be negative opposed to be positive, but my biggest motivator is my son. He really is. And I think about what I want to give him, the things that I didn't have growing up.
Sure.
So those things really motivate me the most. And also, it's funny, like when I'm working out, like I'm like brainstorming, I'm like, I have to do this many text messages today, this many emails. It's like so weird. Like as I'm doing
Something we have in common.
I know, right? Seriously. But every single moment of the day, I'm always thinking about something about my business, how I can implement something else, or how I can change something.
Yeah.
I'm always restructuring something in my brain. Like even as I'm sitting here right now, I'm in the moment, but I'm still thinking about my business.
Sure.
So I utilize every single moment to restructure something. But like I said, my major motivator seriously is my family.
I love it. That's fantastic. It's fantastic. Jessica, same
Well,
question.
I think the same way. You have to have big why, and my big why are my girls and my husband and my family too. So I can relate to that completely. I actually will go in at different times of the year and write down why am I doing this? Every single day I write down, I love my family, I'm a great mom. I write my affirmations because it reminds me to stay grounded. Because I'm like you too, where I don't stop. My husband thinks I only talk about real estate. This is my life. So, and it's okay, but I have to remember to sometimes turn it off. And I do.
Be human.
Yes,
Yes,
exactly.
we definitely forget to be human.
Exactly. So I do turn it off actually. I have very dedicated evening time. I make sure I do mornings with my kids. And I don't really work on the weekend that much actually.
Wow.
I let my clients know that I take Sunday off. If I have to, I will work. If I don't have to show on Saturday, I won't. But I try really hard to keep my work hours during the week when they're doing preschool. And I think when you have precious time, you're more efficient.
Yeah.
And that's the way I look at things. I try to get things done, be quick about it, and just not waste the time because you only have so much of it.
Great point. What you focus on expands for sure. Question from the audience was, what CRM are you guys all using? If you don't mind sharing.
I'm using Follow Up Boss.
Yeah.
I actually just switched this year too, right before the pandemic, and that was a big moment. I actually really love it. It's working great.
That's great. Yeah.
Well, I was using Big Purple Dot as Jessica was for many years.
Mm-hmm.
It was
what?
Big Purple Dot.
What?
And then when the team came around, we switched to KV Core. It's more of an
Okay.
automated system.
Yep.
We all love it. It's very, very intricate. And it takes 4 weeks to learn, but once you get it, you know it.
Yep.
So we're now utilizing KV Core.
Very cool. John?
So I started off with Wise Agent, a great CRM for someone who's never had a CRM, fairly inexpensive, and it has a lot of tools and that sort of stuff. And then I'm currently using Sierra that I switched over to.
Awesome.
So I would like to backtrack a little bit.
Sure.
Cool thing about improv. I told about everything. Everyone talked about family. Well, my family, my wife was like, yeah. So.
If you make me cry during the show, it'll be like,
I gotta make sure that she knows, man.
That's awesome.
So I bet you, if you didn't say anything about your wife, she'd be like, you know what? They said something.
I know.
So we had a great question from David that I definitely want to go to, if you guys don't mind sharing. What is the best back to basic item that you did implement? And I think that you brought up back to basics. And so what was the item that made the biggest impact?
Just a call.
The physical phone call.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Just how are you doing? I don't talk about real estate. Most of the time they'll ask me about real estate because I'm pretty out there with it, but that's it. Just make the phone calls and just be friends with your friends. I haven't talked to you in a long time. What are you up to? Like, you know, because right now people are feeling a little bit isolated, so it's
Sure.
the perfect opportunity to do that. I mean, some people like text, but I'm going to say just a phone call.
So what I love about that is, you know, during the pandemic, there were so many people that were stuck at home and that they didn't have anyone to reach out to. And we're hearing about, you know, the mental capacity of these people that have not had any interaction.
Yeah.
And to get a phone call from you, how powerful is that?
Yeah.
And just to talk about them, you know, it doesn't have to be about real estate. They know what you do.
Yeah.
And
And then
that
I would follow it up with a note card,
yeah, absolutely.
because then they knew I was thinking of them for sure.
Did you guys institute any basics that you did when you first started as agents that you reinstituted now during the pandemic?
Of course. For me, it was being fearless, not being scared of hearing the answer no.
Sure.
I mean, when I first started 6 years ago, all you hear is no, because you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
You don't know how to get around that objective. Just like Jessica said, I just hit the phones again. I mean, I couldn't go out and see people in person, which that really killed me, but I can definitely use my voice and be like, hey, how you doing? Or,
Love it, yeah.
want to kill your kids yet? Like,
Oh, yeah.
But I mean, it was just going back to that fundamental where you didn't really have like 2 dimes in your pocket to rub together when you can only just make phone calls.
So, Jeff, I'm going to start this one with you, and definitely because of the pandemic, and Daryl, you brought it up a moment ago, that your business itself changed, the way you do business, the way you focused on people. How has your business itself changed in the way that your systems worked? I know a lot of people had never used Zoom, or they didn't like Zoom, and I know my mom said, I'm not going to get on Zoom, and now it's a staple of our everyday lives. I mean, all of us have Zoom meetings every day. How has your business, the way it's done, changed because of the pandemic?
I would say Zoom is probably one of the biggest. Virtual tours is another one. And those probably two of the biggest. I actually have a home office, and now I open up another bedroom into like where I can set up.
You're expanding.
I'm expanding, yeah. Traffic is so much less, let me tell you. But no, those are the biggest things. And I kind of like what these two were saying as well. Back to the basics, what I did was pick up the phone. I like to text, so I did a lot of text. Hey, just checking in. How are you doing?
Sure.
You know? So those are, I would add that to how that changed, because like, you know, you were saying, it's like, well, I'm on track and this and that and this and that. And all these people all over the years, 13 years here in Vegas, it's like, well, they helped me get where I'm at. So, you know, shouldn't I take care of these people? So those are my big 3 biggest.
Love it. Daryl, you?
Actually, it's funny because when the pandemic first started in March, I lost my voice for the whole month.
Oh, wow.
So I was a texting fiend, like, cause I couldn't talk. I'm like, I got laryngitis. So it was like a whole month of us talking like this.
Yeah.
And I was like, even my son was like mimicking me. I'd be like, Dave, he's like, what? Oh shit. I was like, oh my gosh, like I just can't talk right now. But you know, I was doing a lot of texting. But you know, like I said, like he had mentioned, well, what is the question?
Just stuff that changed in the way that you did everyday business. You're good.
I'm a little scatterbrained, sorry. But you know, really in that sense, except for not going outside, that was the only change.
Yeah.
I was still operating. I was still producing numbers, you know, still making my calls. One thing I did do different in 2020 that I did in 2019, I got assistants to make my phone calls for me because, you know, my sphere is like 2,000 people.
Mm-hmm.
I can't talk to all 2,000 people within a month. So, and then also I send out postcards every single month as well, related to a holiday, nothing related to real estate, just reminding you that, hey, I'm a realtor, I can help you with this transaction if needed. But I did do my postcards, I got a transaction coordinator, I already have one of those, but an assistant to make my phone calls that I couldn't reach. But for my past business, only I spoke to them.
Wow.
Because I wanted them to feel that connection, because they're the reason why I am a realtor. They are the reason why I am who I am.
Sure.
So only I will speak to them. Like I spoke to like maybe 10 of them since Sunday. Like, how you doing? How's the house? You know, you guys still loving it? Do you want to sell it?
It's just the home you want to be quarantined in. Yeah. Jessica, you, what things changed in the way you did business?
So I hired an actual admin assistant this year, which was a big deal. And this time it went way better than last time. I thought about it. I had her do a disc profile. I made sure she complimented my personality. I thought this out. Actually, I had a friend help me, which is Shelly actually, really encouraged me to go down this path in some of our conversations. But, you know, I would say, you know, I actually think I understand the value of hiring, having help, delegating, taking things off my plate. Also, the value of my time with my family. I actually feel that I gained more time for my family during this because they were home most of this time. I mean, I have a 4 and a 5-year-old there at the house. So we just did a really good job. My husband is my team member here. He doesn't do really real estate the same way that I do, but he is a support role. And I would say that's where I'm headed. I've been looking for more supportive roles of my business. So my next thing is I'm probably going to have somebody make phone calls. I'm having some help with videos now.
Sure.
I'm looking for support because I like my job. I actually love helping my clients and I get really in the moment, but there's only one of me and I can't do all the other tasks. And I'm going to stay focused on what works, and that is finding business, helping my clients, loving my clients, and I'll just leave the rest for everybody else to help me.
Love it. Well, you guys are the product you're selling. I mean, you're incredible people. I know each of you over the last year, and I'd buy a house from you if I wouldn't buy it for myself. The question out there was, what are you having your assistants say to your clients when they're calling?
I'll start. So my whole thing is I'm not big on scripts at all. I like having that natural flow of conversation.
Sure.
So I would actually practice with my assistants first. But I would pretend to be a client, be like a nasty one, a nice one, an easygoing one. You know, all kinds of people.
Why, you're in front of them, or did you random call them at home?
No, we're right in front of them.
Oh, okay.
It makes it even better. Entertainment. You know, so we would try doing that, like this role playing. Okay, so if you come across this situation, or also I'm so detail oriented in my notes, I'm like, just read the notes to really like follow this conversation.
Sure.
Once they are finally ready, like the first few days, I'll be in the room listening on my own computer, on my own station, and then once I feel they're ready to go, they can just work from home.
Yeah.
But like, it's just keeping up with the presence of the Darryl Braswell LLC. I mean, just keeping that, you know, the momentum going, because like I said, I can't talk to every single person.
Yep.
And one thing I do want to mention on a tip to everyone out there, new builds are big right now, so if you actually have a favorite new build representative that you do a lot of business with, send them a quick message stating, hey, I know you have a lot of people coming through in and out your doors. If you actually have someone to sell their property, I'll definitely offer you a referral fee. I actually did that to a few people this week, and I got back some great responses.
That's awesome.
So that's a way to keep your name out there too.
Yeah.
Can I ask Darryl a question?
Yeah, please.
So your assistants are not licensed. How are you keeping them focused on, because I'm adding someone to make phone calls literally this week. I'm not sure how to direct them, so maybe enlighten me a little bit on what kind of conversations they can have, and you can too.
Yeah, so they cannot discuss anything real estate. Nothing, anything at all, any questions, anything at all, that goes back to me. They just say, I'm sorry, I don't want to license you, but I'll have Darryl call you later on.
So you're talking, your person is a customer service rep. That's what you're basically saying. They're offering customer service to somebody about their experience, not really dealing with their real estate items.
No, because we can't do that basically. It's because they're not a licensee, so they can't discuss real estate whatsoever. But
so what is the line of real estate?
So before V starts typing it in the comments,
Yes.
there's actually a whole list on the real estate division's website on Nevada Real Estate Division, whatever it is, redstate.whatever. It has a whole list of licensed activities that a licensee can do, and then non-licensed assistant, what they can do. And it's the most detailed list that you're going to get, but it all comes back to transaction advice.
Right.
If they're unlicensed, they should not be communicating, with a client about a real estate transaction. But the customer service side of it, that makes a lot of sense. Just facilitating items, but not actually answering questions.
So in our CRM, we have a call transfer button. Do you have that? Where you can transfer live calls?
I haven't discovered that yet. It probably does.
Please hold.
Yeah.
What kind of music do you have on it when you're not using? I want to move on to this next question because we're going to get short on time if I don't. But safety was a major change in our industry. We all had to augment the way that we showed property, the way that we listed homes to make sure that our clients were safe. What changes did you guys institute? And I don't care who takes it first. What changes did you put in place to keep your clients safe and to make that happen?
Oh my gosh. So I went out and I purchased latex gloves. So when the pandemic first started, and I was giving out the latex gloves at every single viewing, making sure I had extra mask in my car, I had rubbing alcohol. I was like, because the thing is, I was not bringing this crap home. That was my whole mind frame. And also, as we've gotten more adaptable to our surroundings, people are like, I don't need the gloves. They're like, look at you now, like you're a weirdo, like you're like the bug man or something with the gloves on. But when the pandemic first started, I was all about it. Like I had alcohol wipes, alcohol spray, I had the disposable mask, the gloves. I mean, if it was out there for like PPP, I had it. Like,
you were the one that bought it all, huh?
Basically.
Love it. And same question, if you guys want to add anything on top of that. You brought it up. How did you keep your family safe from it? I know that I had a cousin who was a nurse, and she'd come into the house and she would get changed in the garage before she'd even go into the home, and the shower would already be running kind of thing. What stuff did you do on any of those contexts?
Prayer.
What do you want to add? Prayer, yeah. That's true, yeah. Love it.
So I've been pretty careful. This is about the closest I've been to someone. So it's, if in general, I've always have masks.
Yeah.
I have extras for the clients. I do have clients that are like, oh, I don't need it. And I'm like, okay, but I'm around people, and it's my responsibility to keep my
sure you're
clients
safe,
safe. So I just kind of take it off of them if they don't choose to want to do that. And then when it comes to, honestly, my husband and I went to a restaurant, and we're probably not going to see my mother-in-law for another 2 weeks, which is okay. We'd rather keep them safe.
Yes.
But we decided to take a little bit of a calculated risk and go out and did it as safe as possible. I think that's kind of how it is. I mean, everybody has to live a little bit, and I can see an adjustment, because at first I wasn't getting anywhere near anyone. We were really strict, but now I'm just a little bit less, but cautiously.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. Jeff, anything you want to add on either one of those?
No, I put together the kits and have them in the car and this and that. Have my big old bottle of hand sanitizer there that I bring with me everywhere. But I would say when I first started, anytime I went out and about, I would change clothes and let them do whatever they're supposed to do. But I would say right now, the biggest thing I do is if they're out of area, I'm a little bit more, I guess, inquisitive and this and that, just to make sure that I'm not meeting them at a property and like it was brought up that I bring it back home into the house. So a little bit more cautious.
Well, I know all of us have our masks laying on the table in front of us, and it's the commonality now that everyone has it with them. It's like their cell phone. You have your mask and your cell phone wherever you go. Two Realtor tools for sure. Let's talk about tools for just a second, because we had a question that came in before I even started the group. Talk about what technology you're using besides your CRM. Anything that you've instituted that has changed your world during the last year?
Not technology,
or
but
website or something.
I mean, well, I can tell you guys.
Call button for your assistant.
Seriously. What I did major in 2020, I hired a coach who basically helped me transform my business. And can I give my coach a shout out?
Of course.
It's Mr. Chris Bishop.
What? That was not planned.
But Chris actually helped me transform my business, making me having more time for my family. Because of Chris, I now actually have a showing agent who actually showcases my viewings with my clients, and I'm actually in the office working with my agents and also doing the transaction portion of it. So it's been a great, phenomenal change where I don't even, I was putting so many miles on my car, it was incredible. And now it's just my car doesn't even move anymore. It's going to the grocery store. So, but that was just one thing. It's not really a technical thing, but it was definitely a system, a new systematic system that you actually have introduced to me. So I'm so thankful for that.
Anything else you guys want to talk about technology?
Are you tearing up again?
No, a little bit.
I changed my website. I had a custom built website and went to one that was more specific for generating leads. That also did remarketing on Facebook. Actually really focused more on the remarketing portion of it, because I think that it makes sure your database is going to see you. The thing about Facebook that I learned is that if you're not paying, they're not showing but 15% of your stuff. So we make sure we're staying in front of our clients and our uploaded lists, I guess, that way. But then I pivoted to other platforms like Instagram, hoping to grow the YouTube channel here coming up. But so I would say those are the main things, but really I don't think you need all these tools. I mean, I do have some of the tools, and but it didn't start there. It started with getting to a point where we added this, and now I'm at a point where I do plan on growing the team, but it's been a slow and strategic process.
Sure.
Because I wanted support. That was very important. I like how he's doing, how you guys have structured, because the support aspect is how you're going to stay successful and focus on your clients.
Awesome.
But also, there's just so much out there that's available to us. It's so what's going to work best for you? I think it's all by your personality. If you're an analytical person, I'm a high yellow. Coming back to our leadership days. But I mean, things like systems like that are so structured, they don't work for me. Because I feel overwhelmed, I'm more of that, how it makes me feel.
Yeah.
So there's just so much out there.
I just thought of a few new things I added this year that I wasn't thinking about. I have Trello board with my assistant.
Okay.
So if you haven't checked it out, it's an app you can add. It's basically sticky notes on a board that you can move around. Okay.
Oh, cool.
So
Absolutely.
we have checklists built into them, due dates, all our transactions are there, and we can collaborate. We also created a Slack channel so we can talk about specific topics. So it's like hashtag topic.
Yeah.
But I feel like as I get a little bit more organized, it'll keep me more organized instead of all these text messages on your phone.
Sure.
Because it gets a little bit convoluted at times.
Yeah, absolutely. I do like the fact that you said simplicity, right? Great tools are great when you use them, but when you don't, they're nothing but noise. And so I think being strategic about that is really important. And I noticed that with all of you guys are in your business. Last major question I have, and then we'll make sure the audience, any questions that they had that we cover. So we talked a lot about 2020. We talked about what 2019 was before the storm. And so now, we've become a new normal. We've become a new normal in real estate. How is your 2021 shaping up, and how does your business look going forward, and what advice do you have for those in the audience? We'll start with you, Jeff.
Well, advice, and I think touched on it quite a bit, is accountability. Shelley shared a book about atomic habits, and I'm on the last chapter now. And the chapter I just finished is talking about boredom. And I will say that successful agents, for me, work through that boredom. It's like, okay, my time blocking, yep, I got phone calls to do. Oh man, I'm tired, I'm bored, but you know what I mean? It's just like pushing through, and then that kind of goes back to the coach and the support of, the admin and this and that. And as far as the previous question, I actually do have an admin who took all of my social marketing off my plate. Mm-hmm. And for someone out there who has not experienced that, it is such a freeing experience. Because I was trying to do it all in the control freak that I am. It's like, while she does it, I get a Google alert saying, hey, you know what? Google noticed that you did this thing. It's like, oh, that's awesome. I didn't even know. You know what I mean? So, anyways.
Love it. Daryl?
2021 is shaping up to be another phenomenal year, such as 2019. I was doing my numbers just like on the 12th, and at that time frame I had 1.5 million already sold in real estate. Today's the 26th, right? Mm-hmm. And I have 2.5 million sold in real estate right now in the books. Awesome. Actually, it's been my best January of my career. I've been doing this now for about 6 years. Just staying in the moment, don't never doubt yourself, and also don't be afraid to fail, because from failure there's growth.
Yeah.
From failure there's learning lessons, and you can definitely take away from that. So I'm always looking for, and I know this may sound kind of weird, but I'm always looking for my next failure so I can learn from it, and to basically improve it.
Love it. Jessica?
I'm finishing up Atomic Habits too right now, actually. So that is probably one of my biggest pieces of advice, is that never stop learning, constantly read something, find podcasts that you like to listen to. I actually don't even listen to music at all. It's kind of sad, but that's how it is. I literally have my earbuds in when I'm doing all kinds of activities in my house and I consume hours worth of content a day. And then I implement these things. Like, I'm constantly thinking of ideas and brainstorming. So I keep notebooks that are very specific to ideas that I have, because I can't keep all my thoughts in my head. And if you're littered with thoughts, you can't sleep. So I do sleep just fine. I just write things down.
Yeah.
That helps. I know I said the basics earlier. So just literally, once you get momentum, you will get business off your business. That BAM, right?
Yep.
So just work your systems, like make your phone calls. When you do get a listing, send the postcard out to the neighborhood. It does work. I'm picking up another listing off of a listing, and they liked that I did a Matterport and a 3D tour. So it really does. And this person lives in Canada, so they found me through my effort, which is pretty darn cool. The other thing is, people want to know you, so share your story a little bit. I actually really started opening up because I realized I was a little too dry in my social media. I would just post houses, and I hardly ever had my face on there. But I'm trying to be a little bit more out there and just so that people know who I am. I mean, I know my core people do because I talk to them, but I don't do it as much there. So that's my goal for this year. And the question is, how is 21 shaping up? I will probably have 10 closed transactions in a week. I have like 4 this week, which is pretty crazy. So it's going to be pretty good. I definitely have big goals set, and I'm on track. So it's pretty good.
So the one common thing as we were going through this process that I noticed about all of you, and the reason you're here, is you all have instituted some form of leverage in your business to make it all work. And by personal assistance or getting things off of your plate or coaching or whatever it was, or sticky notes. I mean, even just the simplicity of lining something up and making it better, you each have excelled at. And I think that's the one thing our audience should take away from it, is that you don't have to control it all.
Do we pay the bill?
Pay the bill, we're good. You don't have to do it all, but trying to do everything and not doing it well hurts your business. And so good on all of you for doing that. You brought up something that we definitely should have added as a question, and so I'm going to throw it out there. Don't feel that I'm throwing it on you. Your listings and the way that you're staging them, because we weren't able to show property the same way. What did you institute? You said Matterport. What did you guys institute to get your listings out there to get that attention? Because you all had a high number of listings. Tell us a little bit more.
So I had a listing in Sun City, Summerlin, that was hard. It was a harder one to sell.
Sure.
It was like 3,000 square foot on the golf course, and there's specific buyer for that, especially around $700,000. So I mean, I did a video tour, got on YouTube, I did the Matterport, 3D, you name it, and I posted on every social media platform I possibly could. We put money behind it through our CRM, and then I even did mailer to the neighborhood. I did as many things as I possibly could.
Sure.
I did not door knock or anything like that. I did get a list of phone numbers, but I never implemented that because that's kind of hard.
Yeah.
But ultimately, through our efforts, we just stayed present. I mean, that was about it. I mean, can I go back to one of your other questions?
Yes, you absolutely can.
Okay. The one thing that if I was to tell anyone to do, it's set goals. I have a goal sheet that's like probably 10 pages long, and it's a living document. Like I will edit this sheet often, and I really think when you put these things in writing and you start manifesting it, it all comes true.
Yeah.
And it's not that it's hoo-ha, it's just that you believe it. And it will happen, and the opportunities present themselves because you're thinking about them. So that's probably my biggest advice. Goal sheet. Make one.
So I'm going to ask. I'm the moderator. I can do whatever I want. On your goal tracking, you said something that's really important: is no goal was too big or too small. I mean, anything can be accomplished. I mean, in our business, we have no income caps. We have no production caps. We have no time caps. It's whatever you want. How small or big are your goals on that list?
Okay, so this is really funny because we took Ninja here right as the pandemic and then went virtual, and they said double that number. Do you remember that, Shelley? So they said that, and I had a pretty round number there, and I doubled it. I made that number this year.
Right.
So that's crazy.
That's awesome.
So yeah, you can do it.
So listing, let's go back to the first part of the question, then we'll go on to whatever you want, but listings and the way that you changed your listing process to make them attractive to consumers that couldn't walk in them or see them. What did you guys do that was different?
I did try the Matterport, which I can't stand those things. I'm always clicking into walls. I'm like, if I'm doing it, just imagine what like my 45-year-old client's doing if I'm doing it. So I would do like, with the photography, I'll do like pictures, not pictures, so like videos, like video stills with music. I'll post those everywhere, doing a YouTube video, do a Facebook Live. It just had to get creative because, Matterport was great, but do you get it?
Okay, Matterport. They are only for that buyer.
Yeah.
Literally, hardly no one sees it, but the person who's going to buy that home is going to go through that tour numerous times.
Yeah.
So I don't notice a lot of traffic on them, but I think they're very important for the person who's going to make the purchase.
And when the pandemic first arrived, our sellers were so appreciative of this different way of showing their listing.
Yeah.
But it was
You stood out.
It was irritating. Not for nothing. I was like, this sucks. Like, this is not how I want to sell your house. But one other thing also, when I'm actually about to take a listing, like say I have a listing appointment, this is a little off topic, but I want to give you guys just a little tidbit. If I'm taking a listing appointment, like say like a week from now, I actually contact my favorite title representative and I ask for the top 100 homes in the vicinity of that neighborhood. They've owned it for about 5 years or so. And I send out a postcard stating, hey, one of your neighbors is thinking about selling their house. If you're possibly in the market as well too, feel free to give me a call. I'll be in your neighborhood on this date. And I've gotten phone calls from doing that. Also, when the property does list, I send out postcards for that to those same 100 people. Also, when we get into escrow, after the escrow, and also probably 2 other postcards just following up after that as well too, just to generate some more momentum.
And what's great about what you said is that you didn't say I send it out to 1,000 people, I send it out to 100. And 100's manageable, it's not, going to break the pocketbook. I mean, it's an easy thing to do. And I love that you get the analytics for who to send it to. That's fantastic. Jeff, anything that you've added on your listing process for?
Pretty much it was covered, virtual tours, once again, like I had said, Matterport, and the postcards. And that was one thing that you kind of touched on real quick is instead of a big old fire hose blast, you have to narrow it down to who's more likely, and Tycor is a great company to provide that info.
So we're kind of heading into the end of the segment. We're going to talk about final thoughts, and just like Jerry does at the end of the show, share with us any final thoughts that you have, or expertise you'd like to share with the group of things they should be thinking of, and whoever wants to go.
Goodness, I don't know. I said a lot of things, but I would say just for me personally, I try to. I don't talk a lot, so this is kind of rare for me to share. I have a core group of people that I'll talk to, but I'm looking forward to a lot of growth this year, and I think there's a lot of opportunity. You just need to, the interest rates. That's the key here, because it's keeping homes affordable.
Yeah.
So every time I'm talking to somebody who doesn't own a home, I'm like, the opportunity is now, because the rates may not stay this low forever, and it seems that prices are going to continue to go up, and inventory is not going to change. So what are we going to do to get you in a home? Because it's about the payment. So I've been doing that. I've been making a lot of conversations and just trying to put myself out there a little more, and I don't know, getting out of my own way.
I love it. Guys.
Hakuna Matata. Seriously, it means no
I've seen that movie.
But like, it's you can't focus on the negative. You definitely need to strive at the positive. Continue this thriving and challenging yourself and having new ideas. Just be your own hype man. Be your own cheerleader. Because at the end of the day, all you really have is yourself to keep you motivated.
Yeah.
As I was saying earlier, it's so easy to be negative. So easy to be negative. And negativity transfers through people because they see it everywhere. So to be that positive voice and to actually, just emulate positivity, it can change someone's day, can change your own outlook of the day as well. So I always try to myself to remain positive. And my whole thing is like, my whole day can be going to the And if I have just one positive thing, I'm rolling out with that.
Love it.
So that's my whole, my whole thesis for 2021.
That's great. Jeff?
Well, it was really talked about quite a bit, but I would say goals, accountability, and what came to mind was like a diet. So I'm on a diet and I fall off the wagon, whatever. Okay, well, no big deal. Just pick up and keep going. Same thing. Okay, yes, I was supposed to make calls today. I decided to do whatever. Hey, you know what? That is what it is. Just pick up, keep going. What's Nike say? Just do it.
Just do it.
Just do it, man.
So great information. I want to thank you guys for being here. I want to thank the audience for seeing these great examples of people that are flourishing in this crazy world that we now live in. And so thank you guys for being that example. I'm sure it's okay if any members of our audience want to reach out to you guys directly and pick your brain. I know that you guys are always here to help, and I sure am excited to be in business with you and to watch your growth, and you guys are going to kill it with your goals in 2021. So thank you guys so much. We hope you enjoyed the meeting, and we will have another agent panel back at you next month.
Boom.
Until then, Signature Life.